Good morning, everyone. Want to welcome you all to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. My name is Jerry Shockey. I oversee the youth and educational programs here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. We're extremely excited that you guys are able to join in here for our part of the Hall of Famer series. And I see a lot of these groups. I'm seeing a lot of new groups to the series and some of our veterans as well. We're really excited to have you all in here today. But let me explain the premise, because I'm sure we have all new students in here, whether the groups are new or not. The real idea and premise of this program is to convey exactly what it took to get in the Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. We know our Hall of Famers are awesome examples of athleticism, skill, talent, and those sorts of things, but it took a lot more than that to get enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it took those 6 core pillars that you guys are studying: the trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, and a lot of other character qualities to achieve that elite level. I've got a secret for you guys, though, and I think many of you guys already know this secret, but I'll share it with you anyways. Those aren't character qualities just to be in a Hall of Fame player. Those are characters traits to be in a Hall of Famer in everything that you do, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in school, whether it's in church or your youth groups, or at home with your parents or siblings or whoever it might be, and eventually in your workplace. And Mr. Winslow is an example of someone here today that has achieved, obviously, elite status, being enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is a pinnacle success for any individual football player. But I think as you hear me read his off-the-field achievements, that they are as good, or if not better, than what he did on the field. So let's, before we do that and go to Mr. Winslow's introduction, I would like to recognize a number of folks that helped make this possible. First of all, we have to thank our friends there at Orange County School District, especially West Orange High School. First of all, I know Kathy Marsh in the PR office there, Doug Sasinski, the principal there at West Orange, Brent Richards. Brent Richards has been testing with me for the past month now, so thank you, Brent, for all your work and your support and helping to make this possible. We just knock on wood, as we said earlier, that obviously we can plan a picnic, but you can't predict the weather. We hope the technology just doesn't crash for some reason, or an internet connection doesn't go down or something like that. But so far, so good. But thank you guys for that. Also, a number of folks with the administration there, Bridget Williams, Matthew Fitzpatrick, William Floyd, Dylan Thomas, Sherry Babinski. Thank you for what you guys have done to make this possible, as well as Kenneth Bowles at Ocoee High School. Thank you very much for setting things up at the neighboring school there in West Orange School District. So thank you, all of you. We have to thank all the teachers, because you're the ones that have made the arrangements for your students, got them in the classrooms, prepared them on character and character-related questions, and done all the prep work and those sorts of things. So thank you, teachers, for the time and effort that you've put in. But last but definitely not least, we have to thank the students, because, as we always say, you guys are the stars of the show today, because after Mr. Winslow shares his opening remarks, the rest of the program is going to feed off the Q&A from all of you. And before we go to that Q&A, what I would like to do is ask Mr. Winslow for his opening remarks here in just a second. But before that, I would like to recognize each of the schools that are participating and give you the opportunity to give a shout-out. So when I call on your school, feel free at that time to unmute your microphone and then give a little cheer or give a little shout or scream or whatever it might be. So we'll start there. Mr. Winslow, you can plug your ears for a second. We'll start with the students at West Orange High School. If you want to give a shout-out, go ahead.
It's great to have you, Warrior. Yeah!
They are pumped and ready. I love it. I love it. I love the enthusiasm. Great group to start off with. Let's go to Ocoee, Florida.
Go ahead, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Ocoee. Let's go to Westfield Middle School 1.
Go Flyers!
Thank you, Westfield. Perfect. Let's go to Westfield 2.
Go Flyers!
Go Flyers!
Very good. Let's break up the Westfield for a second. I think they were having problems connecting. Stone Memorial in Crossville, Tennessee. Are you guys there?
Yeah!
Okay, great. Thank you, Stone Memorial. And let's go to Westfield 3.
Ready? Okay.
And thank you, Westfield 3. And hopefully you guys were told that you guys will be interactive today. We had a couple of the interactive schools cancel out because of the weather, so you guys will be asking questions as well. So even if you don't have them prepared, obviously you probably didn't because you were going to be a view only. be ready with some character questions, because we're going to go in the order of West Orange, Ocoee, Westfield 1, Westfield 2, Stone Memorial, and then Westfield 3. Again, I'll remind all the schools just to keep your microphones muted until we call upon you. And even after we ask the question, please make sure to mute your microphone immediately following, just so we can eliminate any background noise while Mr. Winslow gives his remarks. What I'd like to do now is introduce our featured speaker, and that's Mr. Kellen Winslow. He was a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 1995, a member of the NFL All-Time Team celebrating 75 years of NFL history. He was All-Pro, Consensus Collegiate All-American, and inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame class of 2002. Mr. Winslow is said to be the player who defined the tight end position for the rest of pro football to follow. He was born November 5th, 1957 in East St. Louis, Illinois. He began playing football during his senior year, so a late starter. So some of you that are maybe aren't playing football, you think start junior or senior year, Mr. Winslow is an example of someone who started late. He started playing his senior year at high school. In 1975, Mr. Winslow was awarded a football scholarship to the University of Missouri, Columbia. In 1978, he was named Big 8 Player of the Year for his academic and athletic achievements and earned Consensus All-American honors. He was the 13th player selected in the first round of the 1979 draft by the San Diego Chargers. Winslow enjoyed a 9-year career with the Chargers, earning All-Pro honors 5 times and setting both team and league records that still stand to this day. Mr. Winslow credits his success in football to his love and understanding. Now get this, credits his success to football to his love and understanding of chess. You guys know the game chess? Maybe not played the board game, maybe played it virtually or something on the computer or something like that. But he was quoted as saying, "When I realized the tight end position in football was conceptually the role played by the knight in the game of chess, my football IQ skyrocketed." And I'm sure he can share with you a little bit about that as we discuss this today. A firm believer in that academics and athletics go hand in hand, Mr. Winslow graduated from the University of Missouri, receiving a Bachelor of Educational Science in Counseling Psychology. He returned to school after his football career and earned his Juris Doctorate from University of San Diego School of Law in 1993. Remember I said about achievements off the field? See these things stacking up here with him above even his football career. Winslow continued to parallel his athletic accomplishments with a successful career in the media. He worked as an analyst for Fox Sports Net College Football Saturday studio show alongside the Insider's Kevin Frazier. In the past years, Winslow has provided color commentary for NFL broadcasts on CBS Radio, ESPN College Football, and for the University of Missouri. Winslow has appeared on ESPN, Fox Sports, Politically Incorrect, and pretty much any other local and national radio and television sports program. He is called upon often to speak on social, political, economic, and racial issues related to sports. He has served as the executive director of the Fritz Pollard Alliance, Fritz Pollard, who's a Hall of Famer as well, an affinity group made up of minority members of the National Football League front office, coaching, scouting, and then more recently, he's been the director of planning and new event development for the Walt Disney World Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida, which I'm sure my friends in Florida, both sites there, are probably familiar with that. After a 5-year stint in collegiate athletic administration, Mr. Winslow has returned to his love of public speaking and writing. Winslow is an insightful, motivating, and thought-provoking speaker covering a wide range of topics. Just some other tidbits that Mr. Winslow shared with me that you guys would probably like to know. He's the father of 2, Justin and Kellen. Kellen still is in the National Football League playing with the New York Jets. He has 2 grandchildren, Jalen and Juliana. Obviously, we know he's an avid chess player, loves to golf. He's a sought-after speaker. He's a big reader. Enjoys reading favorite authors Walt Mosley and Lee Child. Last book he read was Sycamore Tree. And his favorite television show is, which happens to be my favorite as well, is the History Channel. Now, before we ask him to share his opening remarks, what I would like to do is go ahead and play a quick video of him. Now, it comes through a little bit through this software and through video systems. It'll probably be a little bit, not choppy, but a little bit disjointed, but you should still be able to see it pretty well.
The premier tight end of his era, Kellen Winslow twice led the NFL in receptions and had 3 seasons with more than 1,000 receiving yards. In a 1981 playoff win against Miami, Number 80 blocked a potential game-winning field goal, made 13 catches, and scored a touchdown. Winslow's exceptional talent forever redefined the position of tight end.
So if all the schools will join me in going to unmute your microphones and join me in giving a warm round of applause to class of 1995 Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Kellen Winslow.
And if you want me to talk now.
The microphone is yours, sir.
I'm good to go. Can everyone hear me in all the different locations? The screen is very distracting. I keep looking down. I don't like this. I don't like the way I look on the screen at all. Can you guys hear me in the back? And I don't like it because I have to sit here so other people can see me, because I like to get up and work the room and kind of walk around and slap people on the back of the head who aren't paying attention. So if I throw something at you, it means you're not paying attention, okay? Won't be the first time you've had something thrown at you, right? Won't be the first time you guys have dropped something, is it? You got to forget those. Got to forget the drops. I'll remember the catches. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to all the schools at once, and of course to be a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and representing all of the members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. What can you say about an organization that you belong to, an industry you belong to, in this case professional football, which after all the years of people who've played have said, we think that you're one of the best to ever play the game, and we want to put a bust of you that looks something like you in the Pro Football Hall of Fame so that people for all time can come and see and recognize your efforts and the teams that you played on, and that you are now, for all practical purposes, until the world is destroyed, immortal. It's mind-blowing. It really is. It's mind-blowing even more so for me because this was never the dream. This was never the goal. I bumped into football along the way of life. And I bumped into football because of the people around me, people who saw things in me I didn't see in myself, people who recognize talent, who recognize opportunity, who recognize leadership skills, who recognize that they have more to offer the world than they were presently doing. And they put their arms around me and they led me. My high school coach, Cornelius Perry, and assistant head football coach, head track coach, Jimmy Lewis. Those are the individuals who put me on the right track. And I met other people along the way who helped me develop my talents, who helped me develop my skills, who taught me to dream, who taught me to think about even bigger things than what I was currently involved in. You guys are in that same situation. And my question to you before you ask questions to me are you taking advantage of those people? No teacher, no principal, no coach, no mentor, no librarian, no one involved in being at your school on a daily basis. It's just there for the check. They're there to share, to give, to guide. They're doing what they love to do. Trust me, if they didn't, they wouldn't do it. Now, my question to you is, are you taking advantage of the skills, the experience, the caring, the love, the knowledge, the nurturing that they're offering? Or are you just vain enough and arrogant enough to think that you know it all? That no one can tell you anything? That your parents' experiences, your teachers' experiences, your ministers, your priests, your rabbis, whatever experiences, that those individuals who are here on a daily basis to guide you don't care about you? Well, let me tell you something. If you believe that they don't care about you, you are so wrong. You are. It's up to you to open up and to trust and to share your dreams and your ambitions and your thoughts and your prayers about what you want out of life. And trust that they have your best interest in heart and that they are here to help you do those things when they push you, when they criticize you, when they critique you, when they hug you, when they yell at you, when they compliment you. It's all to help you become a better person, to take advantage of those skills that they see in you because, trust me, they have the experiences to recognize talent. You don't. Your world is here. This is all you know. There's a whole big old world out there with opportunities, things that you can do. But because of your lack of experience, because of your age, because of your limited time here on this earth, and maybe your lack of experience in traveling in the world, they see more than you do. Or you taking advantage of that, whether you're in grade school, middle school, or high school. I took advantage of it. I listened to those individuals. I listened to Coach Perry and Coach Lewis when they came to my geometry class at the end of my junior year and said, son, we see something in you you don't see in yourself. You belong on the football field. I was on the chess club. I was working after school. I left a very good job, which today I would probably be president of the company. It's called UPS, small company, runs trucks. Okay. And they told me that I spent a year with them, they saw no reason why, based on what they knew and what they saw, that I shouldn't be in some man's college or scholarship. They hooked me in. I trusted them. Then I got to the University of Missouri, and I ran into a guy by the name of Fred Wapple, who was the head trainer at the University of Missouri, who, by the way, I think they beat Florida, didn't they, this year? You know they did. Don't act like you don't know that. So, Missouri was playing Auburn in an SEC championship game. That Missouri, okay, yeah. So, got to the University of Missouri, and I ran into a guy by the name of Fred Wapple, who had been from my hometown, a little short white guy. Fred was 5 feet tall. If he said he was 5 feet tall, he was lying. But Fred challenged me. Fred held me accountable. He adopted me. He said, you're my homie, although we were generations apart. And I trusted in Fred. Then I ran into a guy by the name of Dr. Charles Schmitz, who's assistant dean at the University of Missouri in the College of Education. I got my degree because of Dr. Schmitz. Then there was Dr. Walter Daniel, who was the highest ranking African American in the University of Missouri, Columbia, in the University of Missouri system, includes all 4 campuses, who adopted me and said, I have been waiting for you to come into my office since you were the first day in my class. You have no idea what you can be and what you can do. I want to help you get there. I trusted him. Dr. Daniel convinced me to go to law school way before I even thought about going to law school. He knew it. He saw it. And it's because of those individuals that I am who you see before you today. An educated, well-traveled, somewhat arrogant person. And that's okay. That's who I am. I enjoy life because I've trusted people who were older, more experienced, who had my best interests at heart, who cared about me, who showed me that they cared, and spent time and energy. And that's what you're getting right now from your coaches, from your teachers, from your administrators, and I certainly hope that you were smart enough to take advantage of it. If you don't, you've wasted a great opportunity. That's my message to you this morning. Jerry, you want to open up for questions?
Thank you, Kellen. And yeah, I mean that's a message that's always come out with all the 40, 50 plus Hall of Famers we've done this with. And I just heard it last week or 2 weeks ago from Hall of Famer Jackie Smith, another tight end.
I stole it from Jackie, by the way.
Jackie said you're the sum of the 5 people you spend most of your life with. I mean, the people you surround with are a heavy influence into who you become. But as Mr. Winslow said, you have to be willing to accept that help. I mean, in many cases in sports, we are very willing to. We have trouble with free throws or whatever. We go to a coach, hey, I'm having trouble with free throws. Let's work on it. Shoot 100 free throws after practice every day, and you work on that. But when it comes to schoolwork, for some reason, we don't want to go for help because we feel we look stupid or something like that. And I can guarantee you if there's 20, 25 people in your classroom, at least 10 of them probably have the same question that you had. And you don't even have to ask it in front of them. Go to the teacher afterwards or whatever. But the point is that you have to be willing to seek that help in everything. I still seek advice on parenting from my parents. I mean, they've been married for 44 years or 45 years. I've been married for 9. So they've got 36 years of experience on me. So I mean, there's wisdom to be sought in every area. But I'm going to quit talking because you guys didn't come to hear me talk. You guys came to listen to Mr. Winslow. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the order of West Orange, Ocoee, Westfield 1, Westfield 2, Stone Memorial, and then Westfield 3. Go one question from each school, and West Orange, just ask your students to make sure to project loudly, or if it doesn't come out loudly, if Mr. Winslow, if you can just repeat the question there, depending on their.
Sure thing.
So go ahead, West Orange, to start the program.
All right.
I'm sorry, what is your name? Would you stand and state your name, please?
My name is Kyle Griffiths. I also play tight end here at West Orange.
I knew you'd play tight end. You look like the smartest guy in the room.
Please.
The best looking guy, but no doubt the best looking guy, but obviously the smartest too.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, yeah.
What are your thoughts on social media? How it can help players? How it can be detrimental to them? What are your thoughts on social media?
The question was about social media, in case they didn't hear it. Do I think it's beneficial for players or students, et cetera, et cetera? Be very, very careful of social media. Very, very careful. If you were smart, and I think you are, because you're the tight end, of course, but do it in conjunction with someone older. Ask them to look it over before you post anything. Parties, no. Absolutely, positively not. Employers nowadays will Google you. They will go to your Facebook page, and they will infer a great deal of things from what you post. You don't want anything out there that could be a barrier to you becoming employed. And it's always good to run something past somebody else. There's no such thing as an instant post. It happens and you post it. That equals bad idea. Something happens, instant post, bad idea. I don't care what it is. You need time to reflect on things that you're putting out there. You need to be carefully thought about because it's going to be analyzed, going to be scrutinized. If you're not using someone older with more experience, then the rule should be it's not a good idea, in my opinion. Now, when you talk about social media as relates to promoting yourself as an athlete so colleges become aware of you, there are systems in place to do that are run by professionals who have certain standards for doing those types of things. That's something totally different. But anything that you're doing with your friends, posting it, bad idea. You really want to have more privacy than less privacy. And if you're posting because you want people to like you, then you really need to stop and take a look at yourself. Why is it important to you that somebody like you? Because when you do it that way, you just said to me that you don't like yourself because you're looking for affirmation of validity from other people, which, by the way, you're never going to get. People will always disappoint you if you're looking to them to give you validity. A person's validity, confidence comes from themselves. It doesn't come from other people because other people will always deny it. It's human nature. Too deep? But you understood it's a tight end. Any other tight ends in the room? Oh, see, it's just us two.
Thank you, West Orange. Thank you, West Orange. We're going to go to Akoi, the other school in Florida. If you want to go with your question, unmute there.
Hi. Okay.
Where are we? We're at Akoi, okay.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, hi. Oh.
Go ahead, talk. You're talking.
There you are, okay.
Okay, hi, I'm Sydney.
You're better looking than the tight end.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's a good thing, by the way. Yes, go ahead.
My question is, when you were a child, what events in your life do you believe helped shape you into the man you are today?
When I was a child, what events helped me shape me to the man I am today? Well, my mother beat me a lot. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
That's my therapist and I, we're working through that. I'm just kidding. My mother loves me, I think. What events shaped me? Family and going to church. I'm from a very large family. There's 7 of us. Fortunately, all of us are still alive. My parents are still with us. Of those 7, my mother came from a family of 13, so I had a bunch of cousins. I had an aunt and uncle down the street, had 9 kids. My grandmother and grandfather lived on the corner. So that family really, really shaped you into who you were and taught you to be competitive. Because you imagine 7 kids sitting down at a dinner table made for 5. you really, really, really got to get to that table and got to hold your ground and got to get your share of the food. And to be in a very large family, there's always family around. I don't remember going to an event where I didn't go with a brother, a sister, or a cousin, an older cousin, or a younger cousin, whether it was a baseball game, a church event, or walking to school. So that family was a very, very, very big part of who I was going to become.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Great question there, Akoi. Let's go with Westfield 1. Westfield 1.
Hi, I'm Jade, and my question is, what was your responsibilities on the team?
You're probably going to have to repeat that.
You gotta say it louder.
Oh, okay. What was your responsibilities on the team?
The question was, what were my responsibilities on the team? I had many responsibilities on the team as it relates to the San Diego Chargers, my professional career. One of my biggest responsibilities was to keep the huddle in order when the quarterback wasn't there, and also to be the second person to check the play when the quarterback called the play. We used a lot of different formations, a lot of different personnel, and my job was to double check that we had the same personnel as the play we were going to call. And many times you break the huddle, and I would just yell to the quarterback, listen to the quarterback, can't do it, which would force him to look around and make the change at the line of scrimmage because we didn't have the right personnel for the play we wanted to call. And one of the best compliments I ever got in my entire career was our quarterback, Dan Faust, who's also in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, works for CBS television now doing college and professional football. When Dan told me, "You never stop studying. You are my backup. You are my check." And that's a lot of responsibility. Because, you don't think about the tight end being involved in that quarterback coach scenario. But because I understood, again, playing chess, because I understood the bigger picture, where everybody was, what everybody did, why they did it, when they called a play and I looked around the huddle, it just didn't match up sometimes. So that was one of my big responsibilities, was to be to double check the quarterback's play.
And thank you very much. I want to remind the schools to mute your microphones immediately following Westfield. I think you had your microphone in. We were getting some feedback, a loop from your room. So I think you guys may have had your microphone open since the video was switching back and forth to you guys. So thank you very much. Let's go to Westfield 2.
Hi, I'm Harrison, and my question is, how has the character of NFL players changed over the years?
Your name is Harrison. What was the question again?
How has the character of NFL players changed over the years?
The question is, how has the character of NFL players changed over the years? I don't think it's changed much at all. I think it's being presented in a different way. Players, early days till today, still understand the value of integrity. They understand the value of fairness. They understand the value of caring, which I think is one of the biggest aspects of putting a team together. You have to care about each other. You don't have to like each other, but you have to care about each other. I think it's the same, but I think in today's media, where everything is instant, where there's 24/7 sports coverage, this is how old I am. I came into the league on the first year of ESPN. Yeah. You weren't even born. In 1979, cable TV was just getting its big thing. ESPN studio looked like Jerry's background. It really did. It was just that, it was a small building. It wasn't big as this. It had a big old studio dish outside that looked like something you would see on the moon. It really wasn't very advanced. But it's presented in a different way right now. We know way too much about movie stars. We know way too much about politicians. We know way too much about athletes because of the way the media is now being covered. But you still have people of great character. You still have people who have great faith in their religion. You still have people who are strong family people who are raising strong families. We just don't hear about those things. We hear about all the negative stuff. Thank you, Harrison.
Thank you, Harrison. Great question there. And yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of the things that I get to work with our Hall of Famers and through players and through the community relations departments with the NFL teams. Is it's just remember for every one knucklehead that you see that maybe got in trouble, or not even saying knucklehead, maybe they just made a mistake. There's probably 10, 20 people behind the scenes that are doing great things in their communities all across the country. So let's go to Crossville, Tennessee, Stowe Memorial.
What character traits do you see in your son while he plays in the NFL?
What character traits do I see in my son? Wow. The integrity piece of it. I really like the way he carries himself in the huddle with his teammates and when he comes to that line of scrimmage. I see the caring aspect of it. He's a very loving and caring young man. He really is. I like that part about him. And respectful. Kellen is very fortunate in the sense that, for lack of a better description, he's part of football royalty. His dad is football royalty, being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And because of that, at a very young age, he's met some of the greatest basketball players in history, some of the greatest baseball players in history, and some of the greatest football players in history. At the time, he didn't know it, he didn't understand it. But he's got older, and he began to understand the fact that he had met Joe Namath when he was 7 years old. And Joe Namath remembers him. When I see Joe Namath says, "Hey, how's your son doing?" And I tell him that, he goes, "Wow, Joe Namath asked about me?" I said, "Of course he does, because that's what good people do. They ask about your family." Or Julius Irving, who also lives here, used to live here in the Florida area. Played golf with Julius several times. He met Kellen, and the same story. And when Kellen was 9 years old, we had Tiger Woods over the house for dinner when Tiger Woods was not Tiger Woods. He was just a 16-year-old amateur golfer who was very, very good. And to this day, whenever I run across Tiger, he says, "Hey, tell Kellen I saw his game. Keep it up. I love watching him play." That's respect. He gets that respect and he gives that respect because now he's just overwhelmed that a guy like a Tiger Woods will remember meeting him. He was 9 years old. That's one of the beautiful things about sports is that mutual respect and exchange that you get between people who are not necessarily on the same team, could not be in the same sport, but it's a mutual respect and a love and appreciation. And that's one of the things that we were talking about the media a minute ago. The media fails to tell that story. It's about relationships. You guys are on the football team here now, on the basketball team, women's softball, track and field, whatever it is. Being a part of a team is one of the greatest things that you'll ever be a part of. Why do people join games? They're looking for an association. They're looking for nurturing. They're looking for somebody to tell them if they're special. That's why they join. That's why you join associations. People with common interests who are trying to achieve a goal and who have an understanding of each other and mutual respect.
Another great
Thanks
question.
for the question.
Another great question. Let's go to Westfield 3.
Hi, I'm Michaela. What character trait do you think you use the
Could you speak up a little bit, please, closer to the microphone?
What character trait do you think you use the most to accomplish your goals?
Which character trait do I use to accomplish my goals? Do I think I use to accomplish my goals? Let me refresh my memory here. I was going to say letting someone else do it, but that's not on here. Trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, citizenship. Responsibility. Let's talk about responsibility. The two things that I'm most proud of in my life outside of my children and now my grandchildren are the 2 degrees that I hold from the University of Missouri in counseling psychology and my law degree from the University of San Diego, because those are the things I use on an everyday basis to make a living. No one can take those away from me. Of course, they can't take the title of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame away from me, but one day my career will fade into oblivion. And nobody really cares. I live in Winter Garden. I walk around here and nobody knows or cares that I used to play football a few years ago. And that's okay, because that's not my complete person. My complete person is one who loves to travel, who loves to play golf, who loves to meet people from different backgrounds, who loves to read, who loves to study, learn new things, and playing football is just a small part of that, of who I really am. And I really don't like to be put into that pigeonhole of just being known for doing something in the world of football. It's the well-roundedness about it. Finishing my degrees and earning those degrees gives me a chance to take what I did in athletics and broaden it. I really used athletics to get those degrees. So it's if you're involved in athletics and you are doing something, you're responsible for what you get out of it. You're here in high school. It's not your teacher's responsibility that you graduate high school. It's not your parents. Because the degree, the high school diploma says what? It has your name on it. That's yours. It's not your mother's responsibility, your dad's responsibility, or a coach or somebody you know's responsibility to get you a job. That's your responsibility because that's your job. Too many people look back and look for someone else to do something for them or take care of them, look for an easy route. Those people will fail because they haven't put in the work. But those who take responsibility for what they are going to be and what they want to do, then those are the ones who by definition will be more likely be successful. So responsibility. When I was in higher education, I would have parents come in and they would tell me, well, my kid's a football player, but he really didn't get the coverage he should have got because the coach really didn't push him. Or the coach really didn't push him to the scouts. Or the coach pushed his other guy, blah, 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 blah. And I would say, okay, can we be real here for a second? There's no such thing. In modern day technology, they will find you if you are a player. And most of the times when the mother or father were talking about the kid who was a great high school player or a great little league player, they just weren't big enough to play college football. That was a fact of life. They weren't big enough. They weren't fast enough. That's okay. Find a school where they are big enough and fast enough to play, get their degree, leverage athletics to get their degree, because you only play at one school. You only need one. Get your degree and use athletics for what it's really, really meant for. Don't sit there and blame the coach because your son's not 6'2", although he's listed as 6'2", he's really 5'11". We've all seen those. And I've told parents, you're not going to like it, but this is the truth. No, it's not the coach's fault. It's nobody's fault. He's not going to play at Ohio State. I was in Ohio at the time. And they grew up thinking they're going to play at Ohio State. Ohio State, if you're not 200 pounds and almost 6 feet tall, you're not going to play running back at Ohio State. Plus a 4.5 40. They're just going to draw a clear line of demarcation. Everyone under those stats will fall below the line. Everyone above those stats may have a chance. That's life. Know that. But take responsibility, not blame other people for it. And take what you know and what you think you want to do and find a place to do it. Whether it's a smaller school or whether it's a Division III school, it's your school. Make it yours. Own it. So taking responsibility for the outcome is really, really key. Can't blame other people.
Great question there, Westfield. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the students right there with Mr. Winslow at West Orange. If you want to go ahead with the next question.
Yes, sir. Stand up. Oh, you are standing. Okay. It's an old joke.
My name is Matt Mitchell.
Hi, Matt.
Play outside linebacker here. And my question relates to character, and I was wondering how important character is on and off the field too.
When the question is from Matt, oh, by the way, do you know how they decide who plays defense and plays offense? No. They give a test. Those who score lowest play defense. Oh, come on. You've never heard that before? All defensive players raise their hand. I know what you scored on that test. Okay. Just kidding. All right. What was the question? Character.
Character. How important is on and off the field?
It's the same thing. You can't have it on the field, not have it off the field, unless you have a split personality, which is possible. But you are who you are. If you are going to take shortcuts and look for the easy way out on the field, you're going to do the same thing off the field. If you're going to do it off the field, and we know those individuals who do look for those shortcuts, we're not used to being challenged to always want things, not always want things, we're looking for the easy way out. When they get on the field, they're going to look for the easy way out. And so many times, whether it's professional, college, or high school, coaches know who they can count on when the game is on the line. So they know who they can go to because they know that person's character. On the field and off the field is the same thing. So if a guy's cutting class and trying to get away with cutting class and then wants to come out and practice and play on Saturday or Friday night, and he thinks he should get the ball in those key situations, you can look to what they're doing off the field to get an indication of what they're going to do in that highly competitive pressure moment when the whole game is on the line. Basically, they're going to fold. And coaches who don't pay attention to what a guy does off the field and then try to say he's not going to do it on the field is really fooling themselves, because character reveals itself under pressure. There was a sculptor, I'm trying to remember his name right now, I'm having a senior moment, who talked about when he got a block of marble or granite to start a sculpture, he did not sculpt what it was in there. All he did was remove the pieces that revealed what was already there. And that's character. And pressure will reveal character. Was it Dolly who said that? Art teacher, historian, critic, anybody in the room? Teachers? Look that up. All right. Yes.
Thank you very much, West Orange. Let's go to Coey.
Hello, my name is Chase. I was going to ask, what advice can you give young people about how to develop their character?
What advice could I give to young people about how to develop their character? Well, you're doing it every day. Every interaction with someone is part of who you are. It's just beginning to understand and realize that. A lot of things happen to us that we're not aware of, so we're not taking advantage of the moment. Every interaction we have with people is a teachable moment, and it's a learning moment. And I'm sure teachers understand that when they interact with a student in the hallway, in the cafeteria, outside at the local Walmart or Target, or in the grocery store. It's a teachable moment, that interaction is. It's the same thing happens with your character. Every time you have a chance to tell the truth or tell a lie, and for whatever reason you choose to tell a lie, is affecting your character. Every time you have a chance to do the right thing, but you choose to do the wrong thing for whatever reason, is reflecting on building, is a part of building your character. Every time you have an interaction with a teammate or a teacher or a principal or a sibling or your parents, is a chance to build character. So it's ongoing. It just doesn't happen one day where you wake up and say, this is who I am. But to be aware that all of this goes into making who you are, then sometimes you get there quicker. But things happen to us we're not aware of. And for me, I go back to my analogy in chess. When my high school coach came out to get me to come out to play high school football, he would tell me to run this route this way. And I always had this question of why, and I'm always thinking, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? But never asked that question because it sounded silly. And it wasn't until my sophomore year in college when something the coach drew on the board, it just hit me. This is why I'm doing this. I'm the knight. It looked like the knight. I said, oh my God, it's nothing but chess. The field is a finite space. The chessboard is a finite space. There are rules, and there's things called time and space continuum as it relates to how long it takes to throw a pass. So I can't run down the field, run across this way, then come back around this way. Or I can't run out and go this way and then change this way. With a quarterback who doesn't have a whole lot of time expects me to do one thing and I do something else. It doesn't work. But isn't that really life? There are things that you are required to do, that you're supposed to do, that will help you, put you on a path to being success. It's not guaranteed, but it puts you on a path. And if you take those shortcuts early in life, then you're falling behind, further and further behind in a very competitive world. If you don't want to do well in middle school, you say, well, I'll do it in high school. And you don't do well in high school, you won't get to college or get to the college you want to get to, or you will never achieve. But if you start early and building character and building traits like being responsible and building a work ethic in everything that you do, then you have a better chance of being successful and being more competitive in life than just, well, I'll do it later. The hardest thing, and one of the most frustrating things that I see, are people with talent who don't use it because it comes so easy to them. Teachers can relate to this. Coaches can relate to this. I shouldn't say teachers and coaches like they're separate things because they're the same people doing the same type of stuff. Teaching is coaching, coaching is teaching. That you find a kid who has a talent, whether it be math, science, or throwing a football, catching a football, or playing basketball, whatever it is, and they don't work hard because it comes so easy to them. When my son was younger, Kellen, at the age of 7, I realized he was a better athlete than I was ever going to be. He stood up one day and started walking, never tripped. Okay, not at 7, but at 18 months, 2 years. He stood up and started walking. Never fell over, never bumped his head. At 7, he had calf definition and he had the horseshoe. At age 7, I went, oh my God, all right. I did not let him play tackle football until he was 14 because he didn't have to. He already had the physical thing. He already had the assertiveness about it. I made him play other sports. In other sports that he played, well, I let him play other sports. I didn't make him. The other sports that he played, I always played him up in a division older than he was because he could handle it. Not everybody could, but I never wanted him to be the best player on his team. Because why? Because then they stop working. It comes too easy to them. Sometimes, no matter what it is, math, science, English, whatever, you've got to challenge yourself. And if it comes too easy, then you have to look for that next challenge. Admit it to yourself that it's just too easy for me and find that next level of competition. That's how you get better. You don't get better being the best in the room. You get better chasing the best in the room. Because once you become the best, that drive, that motivation just kind of goes outside of you. And when he decided to go to college, there were schools where he wanted to go, where he would have played as a freshman. I didn't want him to go to those schools because I didn't want him playing as a freshman. I want him sitting on the bench, being redshirted, or playing sparingly on special teams. There's only 2 places in the country that was going to happen for him. One was the University of Miami. He was not going to start at Miami. He would have started at Ohio State. He might have started at USC. He definitely would have started at Washington or UCLA. But at the University of Miami, he wasn't going to start. So that's where he needed to go. Challenge yourself. Always challenge yourself.
Great.
I'm sorry, did I answer your question or did I kind of go off on a tangent?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Okoye. Well, we've got looks like about 10 minutes left, so we're going to try to go one question from the remaining 4 schools to end the program. Let's go Westfield Middle School. Westfield 1, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jade, and my question is, how has football influenced your life?
The question is, how has football influenced my life? It really is the family business. And it really is a tool that we've used to improve the quality of life and the opportunities for everybody in my family. I was the first one to go to college in my immediate family. My 2 older sisters did not. I had a cousin who had gone off to college. But me getting a chance to play collegiate football and attend the University of Missouri and graduate from there kind of set the tone for those who followed. My brother went to college. He played basketball at Northeast Missouri State, ended up playing overseas in Australia for a couple of years, and it took him and his wife to Australia. My nephew David, for the first 3 years of his life, talked with a Cockney accent. Every now and then, because that's where he was raised, every now and then he reverts back to it. At the age of 32, he reverts back to that Cockney accent. So having that athletics really, really changed the dynamics for my entire family. When I got a chance to play in the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, I took my parents. And my father had been to Hawaii when he was a member of the Army in the Korean War, but he was only there for a night as they changed ships and kept going towards Korea. So he got a chance to spend a week there, and I learned about my father and his time in the Army because he had never talked about it before because of football. It's not the end all, it's really just a basis for a conversation. And that's the great things about athletics. It changes the family dynamics. Now because my brother and I, my other brother have gone to college, and my sister have gone to college, the expectations are that the next generation, this is all you know. You're going to college. At 18, you're leaving the house and you're going to college. And that started from day one. So, yeah, athletics, football has been everything to me, but more so it changed the dynamics of my entire family.
Okay, thank you very much. Westfield, let's
Very
go.
good question.
Westfield 2? Yeah, great question. Westfield 2.
Hi, my name is Faith. Has there ever been a time when your character has ever been questioned?
Is there ever a time my character has been questioned? Yes. My character is questioned every day because you can't, again, let's use the sports analogy. You make a free throw in a basketball game, or you make a free throw in practice. It's in practice. But now you're in a game, it's the last 2 seconds on the clock, you're standing on the line, you've got to make that free throw again. Your ability to make a free throw is in question again. What happened before doesn't matter. So every day, your character is called into question. Every day, you are required, or you are tested whether you're going to do the right thing or not. Some people do the right thing on a consistent basis. Some do it more than others. Some try to do it all the time. But, it's questioned every day. You have situations, scenarios where they are. One of the times I remember, it may seem small right now, but to me it was very big at the time. A few years ago, we were in Kansas City. My son Justin and I, we stopped off at a convenience store. And you know how you're on the phone, you're kind of walking around, you're buying things, and you're paying for stuff, and you're talking on the phone, and the kids want something, so you kind of get distracted. I picked up a pack of gum, and it just slipped into my jacket pocket as I pulled out my cell phone. Went up to the counter, I paid for the items that we did have, and was driving back to our friend's house. And I was about 4 miles away from the convenience store. And I reached into my pocket, thinking I'm reaching for my phone again, and I pulled out this pack of gum. I hadn't paid for the pack of gum. I had not. Very easily, going 4 miles the other direction, could have kept going. But the only thing I knew what to do, for me personally, as well as to teach my son the proper thing to do was, and we were running late, turn around, go back, and pay for that pack of gum. Now, I walk into the store and I tell the clerk, hey, I forgot to pay for this pack of gum. And he looked at me like, that was 20 minutes ago. I said, yeah, but I need to pay for this pack of gum because I could not go to bed that night wondering if I've been seen not paying for this pack of gum and something comes out later, or talking to my child about it's okay because I forgot. It opens up a door to that's a slippery slope, as they say, to make an excuse for that. But to take the time to turn around in traffic at the time, because it was rush hour traffic in Kansas City, and go back to that store and pay for that pack of gum. I slept better that night knowing that, yeah, it was inconvenient, but I had to do the right thing. At the time, gum was probably about 10, whatever. But it was important to me to do that.
Okay, thank you, Westfield 2. Another great question. Let's go Stone Memorial, then we'll go Westfield 3 to conclude the program.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Our last question. Which character traits do you wish you saw more of in the NFL today?
Which character trait did I think I see a lot of character in the NFL. I really do. I see the sportsmanship. I see the camaraderie. I see the caring for each other. It's just not a story that's told a great deal of. Unfortunately, we live in a society that loves chaos, that loves controversy. That's why Ricky Lake was so popular, Jerry Springer was so popular. Any show that we can put on television where we embarrass somebody or we do something to laugh at somebody else or their drama in life is very popular on television. To me, that's a bigger issue in society than a guy who makes a mistake and gets pulled over for a DUI. It's just, do we really enjoy seeing other people get embarrassed, or to see their family problems be laid out on stage, or have somebody come on and say, I don't know who the father of my child is, and we're going to test these three people and build it to a big dramatic moment? Or even in the early days of American Idol, it was all about embarrassing people, not finding the best talent. So why are you showing people who can't sing if it's really a singing contest? And we as a society have to ask ourselves this question: what is it about us, about our character, where we allow these types of things to be on television? It really is. And to me, it really is about that. There are going to be people who make mistakes. They always will. There are going to be guys who are so competitive that they go overboard and they need to be reined back in at certain times. But there are systems in place to do those things. And I think the NFL, especially the commissioner, Roger Goodell, does a great job in disciplining players who step outside the bounds of what we like to see in the National Football League. But to say that the league has less character now than it used to, I don't think that's true at all. I just think we see, my God, if you guys could see some of the things that we did back in my day. But there wasn't ESPN. There wasn't cell phones. There wasn't video on your phones. Those things didn't exist. But people think that we were, purer, we were less troublemakers, etc. A bunch of rebel rousers. That was the game.
Thank you very much, Crossville. And last but definitely not least, we'll go back to Westfield 3 for the last question of the program.
Hey, my name is Elias, and my question is, how do you define a good citizen?
A good citizen. Good question. Citizenship is such a major part of the building blocks. Think of citizenship in caring. I'm looking at the room here in West Orange. I see people from different backgrounds, ethnically, probably religiously, racially, etc. I see people with different backgrounds. But in a society like ours, citizenship is about allowing those individuals to be who they are, as long as they follow the rules of what makes things better for everyone else. And that's really what it's about. And it gets back to that one big one I talked about, was caring for each other. If we care about each other, we allow each other to have the freedom to be who we are within the confines of society. And yes, we punish those when they step outside. But being a good citizen is knowing that you go to work to pay your taxes, to build roads, and that's a part of your responsibility as a good citizen. That to take care of your family is being a good citizen, so that you can do that and society doesn't have to take care of your children. Being a good citizen means that you're involved with your children, things that they're doing. And being a good citizen is coming to school and doing what you're supposed to do. Go to class, do your homework, be on time, follow instructions, take advantage of the resources that are around you, the people who are around you. Whether you believe it or not, and I'll say this again, your teachers and your coaches and your administrators are resources for you to be successful. If you don't know them, if you're not involved with them, you're not talking to them, you're wasting a very valuable resource. You really are. So being a good citizen is thinking about more, if I could just sum it up, it's thinking about more than just yourself. And to me, we live in a society where people have a tendency to think more about themselves than they do about the entire society. We've got to get back to thinking about the society as a whole and not how certain things just affect me.
Thank you very much. And everyone, if you can unmute your microphones and join me in giving a warm round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer, Mr. Kellen Winslow. Thank you. And Mr. Winslow, is there anything you'd like to share in closing?
Just want to say thank you. I really enjoyed doing this part of a Hall of Famer, and I really enjoy getting a chance to get out and meet different students. And I live 5 miles from here. I've never been to campus. It's great to be here. And to everyone else around, thank you for listening to me and putting up with my ramblings.
Thank you, Mr. Winslow. Thank you, Orange County, West Orange High School, especially, obviously, Brent Richards and Doug Sosinski and Kathy Marsh and those folks there. And thanks to all the schools that tuned in. Hope to see you in Canton, Ohio someday, but this concludes our program. Thank you. Take care. Thank you, Kellen. Good seeing you.
You bet, sir.